All right, chip of the day. Everybody loves chip of the day. We'll be doing a LS373. So let's just get right into it. So today I wanted to talk about learning hardware design for microprocessors. Okay, this is probably a lab that maybe some people would have, learning about how you add peripherals to microprocessors. Now, microcontrollers already have ports and stuff, and you can do I2C and stuff, everything. But back then, you might want to have a dedicated port for something, and you need to add that. Now, the actual Heathkit development system adds a port, and this is their port right here. They have a port, an output port, and an input port. Okay, and I'm using the output port, writing a little program, and I'm talking to the output port, and I'm displaying a count here on the display. And what we want to do is, well, how can we do what Heathkit did? We want to add a port, and it's not available. We need to add one, okay? And that's what all this wiring here is. I've added a port. So what does it take to add a port? Well, you need a latch. You need to have some latch where you can write to the data and it'll remember your data. And you need to have some type of decoding so that you know the address space of that particular device, and you have all the timing correct and everything. It all comes down to the timing, okay? So let's get out some paper down here. All right, so we're going to need to add a latch, okay? And so we're going to have D0 through D7 come into the latch, and then the latch will remember that, and then we'll have D0 prime through D7 prime. These will be the outputs. So these will be the Qs, and these will be the Ds if we use a D flip-flop. We're going to be using a 74LS373, which is an octal latch. So that's going to be the device we're going to use, okay? Now we need two things on here. We need a chip select, and then we need a clock. Okay, the way that these work is if clock is high, then the latch is transparent, and as soon the falling edge of this clock, as soon as the clock goes to low state, it latches the data and remembers it. Okay, so our chip select needs to be low, and then we need to have a falling edge on the clock pin. Okay, so we will need to have some decoded address space. Now, we're going to cheat a little bit here. The Heathkit already decodes a particular address here on IO0 through IO3. We're going to be using IO0. And so IO0 is going to be at B300 hex, okay? B300 hex. And when this is selected, this will be low, so we can use that. If you wired this up, you would find out that it didn't work, okay? You'd say, oh, wait a minute, this isn't chip select. I read the data sheet wrong. This is actually output enable, okay? Output enable. Oh, wait a minute, we want the outputs enabled all the time, so we need to ground this, okay? Which means that the clock has to be a special clock. It has to be a combination of this and this, okay? We need two conditions. One condition, are we addressing the right thing? And then another condition, we need to have an edge while this thing is selected, okay? So if we took a look at the device, then we would have something, our IO0, okay? It will come along and it will go low, okay? And then we will have a clock. And in 6811, we're going to have a clock as E. Okay, our clock is E. And our clock's going to come along and it's kind of going to do this type of thing. It'll be doing a thing. And then we'll have our data, okay? So our data bus, D0 through 7, will be down here. And once the IO0 is selected, then the microprocessor will put the data on, And so we'll have data here of some type, okay? It'll happen sometime while the I/O is low. And we need to get all this timing right, okay? So let's take a look at how we can make this all true. So this edge here, we're gonna try to use this edge here, okay? And we want to have this edge appear only when I/O is low, I/O0 is low, okay? So if you imagine you have a, you want this going low, all right? And you want, let's see here, you want to have, this is correct. Let's see here, we can bring in our I/O maybe here, and then here we need to have the E clock, okay? And when they're both high, then we'll get a signal out here. Well, I/O is low though, so we'll need to invert I/O. Okay, we'll need to put an inverter here, and then we figure. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you need to figure out. Is how do you add this all together? Okay, let me show you some traces, and that will help us. That will help us design the circuit. All right, so currently we're talking to this port. This port is B240, and our new port is going to be B300. So let's reset our program, and let's go take a look at it. So we're going to increment the accumulator, and then we're going to output the data to B240. So let's change that to B300. Now when we run our program, it'll be talking to our new port, okay? So we'll do a reset, go to 0. All right, so you can see over here that we are talking to the port. So I've already done the work for you. It's actually working now, okay? And so let's see what we had to do. We have two chips here. We have the 373 chip, and we have a 7400 NAND gate. We needed that to combine the I/O logic and the E gate, E clock, and we needed to combine those things. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're working with. So I'm going to be looking at the actual signal lines here. I'm going to be using the logic function of the mixed signal oscilloscope. Okay. So I have some logic probes attached here. We're going to be looking at different things. All right. So sorry, this is a bit of an angle. Let me move the camera. Okay, that's better. So the bottom line is our I/O. Okay, so our I/O goes low when we're talking to that port. So this is where the I/O is asserted. Then we have this thing called the E clock. And it's called D1. I don't want it called D1. I want it called E clock. So go here, setup, display, labels. I want D1. I want to have D1 called E, because that's what it is. Shift E. Okay. Apply new label. There we go. All right. So we have the I/O, we have E, and then we have our data lines. Okay, so the I/O goes low. Our E clock is just whipping away here. It's just running constantly. And then our data is either a 0 or a 1 as we run the program. So sometimes it's a 1, sometimes it's a 0. But it's a valid state when this edge falls, when the E clock falls, our data is a valid state, okay? So we want to take I/O, when I/O is asserted and E is asserted, we want to have a new thing. So the new thing we're going to create is this D clock. This is the clock that goes into our 737. And it's a combination of I/O inverted and E. So it's those two combined. And then it's inverted itself. It's a NAND gate, right? And so this is what we're going to have, all right? So remember that the 737 becomes transparent when it's low. So when it's low, it's going to copy whatever's coming in, which is this signal here. And then when it goes high, it's going to latch that data and keep it, okay? And so we are going to latch this, and we'll be able to display it down here at the bottom. All right, so we're going to be using the NAND gate. The I/O comes into a pin, and this gate is being used as an inverter. So it gets inverted, and then it gets sent to this NAND gate. So let me draw you the resulting circuit that we have there. All right, we have a quad NAND gate. So we have 4 NAND gates in a package. I'll just draw 2 of them here, okay? This is pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pin 7 is ground, okay? We're going to tie these 2 together, okay? And we're going to connect that to I/O 0, all right? And so it will get inverted, and then we're going to bring that line over to pin 2, and then this will be connected to E, okay, and this will go to our 373. So that's how I'm using the oops, I'm sorry, not that one. This one. This line here goes to the 373. All right. I'm not on camera here. So once again, the I/O 0, it's actually not I/O 0, it comes into an inverter. I've tied these 2 gates together, so my NAND gate becomes an inverter. Then I have I/O here. It's not inverted any longer. I/O 0, not inverted. And then it comes into this gate, which then NANDs it with the E. And that is the signal that we send to the 373. Okay? I didn't explain that very smoothly today, but I think you get the idea. So what we've done is we've used the I/O 0 signal, we've inverted it, we've ANDed it with the E gate, and then it goes into the 373, and then that goes to the LEDs. So there we go. So we've added a port, a parallel port, and we've done that with a 373 D-type flip-flop. They come in different varieties, 373 or 374, whether you invert it or not. And yeah, they're used all over the place in the old 8-bit days. And so we'll call that the chip of the day, the 74LS373. And our application circuit is adding a parallel port to a 68HC11 microprocessor circuit.